talk about the life force. I talk about nature, about how things move on the planet. The same in me. And if you keep it really like that, they can relate to that. The sun, yesterday we talked about the sun making your, changing energy in your body. If you give people those concepts in a very pragmatic, practical way, it's not this woo-woo spirituality thing that has so much loaded guns in it, in our culture, and for, many good reasons. A lot of people have had weird experiences growing up in terms of their, their capacity to touch into their own spirit. Now, spirituality and religiosity are two totally different things. And, I always say that spirituality is just spirit in reality. So if you look at a horse that's running wild, you say, wow, that's a spirited horse. Or if you see the Canucks winning or the Flames, it's like, wow, great spirit team. So we're comfortable with spirit in that way, but we don't think I'm spirited. But we are. And it's as simple as that. And we don't need to complicate it more. We don't need to make it, a religion or a dogma or a belief. It can be just as much as believing that you are the energy that is everything, and that's really powerful. And that is actually the most potent place to take our clients. Because when they feel, wow, I can actually breathe in and expand, and I'm actually, feeling, I'm feeling more infused with energy or whatever it might be. And surrendering to that is a big piece, knowing that we are that energy and that we have that. So, okay, let's put 2 yoga mats on the blue physio mat. It's going to turn here. So Fiona will stay put, and Terry's going to go toward the door, and then we're going to walk that way, putting my bum on the black spot on the mat, with my feet towards Sophie.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to fall through here. Now, if I was in the old days when I didn't have any core, and then I'm going to let myself come right down so that they can get back into the pants. If there's straps in front, of course, you've got to make sure all the belts and buckles are undone. There's always lots of paraphernalia in this world. And then I'm going to kind of tuck myself in, and we're going to count. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We're just going to keep going this way and down. And then they're going to stabilize the client. So always one person behind with a hand right at the sort of rib cage back area, because that's where most people are going to fall if they're going to fall.
Do you want this, MJ, or the bigger one?
No, that one's good. So before we do a lot of lifting, I'm going to want to sit really properly. So I'm going to ask her to take my feet out a bit. If it's a sticky mat, I might need help with that. But I'm going to ask her to align them with my hips so that I'm stacking my joints. So separate them out a little bit. Good. Okay. And then I'll probably, because I can, do a seat lift or two and get my pelvis into a position where it feels comfy. And most of your clients are going to need to be forward to do that. The spasticity will come in a new move. It just happens. Or there's going to be tone. So that type of tensegrity is kind of hard to work against sometimes. So I actually have to kind of just wait it out until that passes. And I might give it a sound like... And then I've got more ability to move. Okay, so now that my pelvis is in line, now obviously this would be in a more advanced client that can sit and get themselves into that, but it's your job to figure out how to do that for them if they can't. So if Shira was here, she's not, but you're here. Do you want to get on a mat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So we're going to use Jen, and we're going to use 2 other people. Who wants to be a CP volunteer? So someone that pretends they've got CP. We need a CP, a stroke, a blind, and a Parkinson's. So figure it out. I'm going to sort of keep setting up. So while I'm doing that, so what you want to do is, first of all, stabilize the legs left to right. So they're going to be floppy. So you take a bolster and you put 2 bookends on each side. And that's going to take care of that. That's okay. The next piece, now if I wasn't stable, you would put something behind me right away before you did anything else. So we could do that. Jane, bring over the chair, the
green one. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So when before, if we had a client, I guess, in a chair, and we were trying to give them cues, what would we be telling them? Like, I mean, before they are a part of the transfer, should we be trying to tell them to, you know, try to draw their navel in and activate their core and draw their knees in to prepare for that transfer? Or what kind of cues would we tell them to assist in that transfer? Because, like, I mean, you have, I mean, you've done that transfer a lot.
Yeah.
For someone
Yeah.
like me that hasn't done that specifically, to take a lot of the bearing off.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when we transfer you, can I cue you and we'll
Yeah,
show?
for
We'll
sure.
show.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So behind me, I've got a nice support. Now, even if I didn't need that, it feels nice to have it there, you know, because I could fall over, actually, and I do. And so will your clients probably. So the more the better, even if they, you know, they may not think they need it. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. Here, I'll put it here. See if it feels good. Does it feel good? Oh yeah. Okay, I'll leave it there. You know, and don't insist, obviously, but suggest. Because the less they have to do to sit in this upright position, the more they're going to get into sort of being able to stretch, being able to enjoy, you know, what they can do here. So next we're going to do the feet. So how many of you remember about dorsiflexion, and who would like to set that up for my feet? Come on, Shelby. So you got to be creative with your mind. You got to be able to think, how am I going to do this? I don't have a wall. Well, I need weight. I need firmness. I need something to keep it from rolling. So maybe take the yoga mat. Yeah, you're doing great. Yeah, I would take the yoga mat and put it under your brown one just so it doesn't move anywhere. Another yoga mat. Yeah, and just unroll it a little bit. And then leave the roll on that end. Perfect, you got the idea. And keeping it angled is really good. Yeah, and then you're going to need to build that up quite a lot. Yeah, that's a great idea. So when you do dorsiflexion, I'm just going to say something, because you don't want to pull the foot and flip the toe. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because I actually don't get an engagement there, because when that happens, how do you explain that? It doesn't engage the back line. I don't know how to explain it, but I'll think of a way. So what you want to do is you want to keep them in there. Now here's a big spasm. Now that spasm would throw me backwards. But it didn't, because we caught it. Okay, so to do the feet, what you want to do is you want to think about where her ankles are, where the person's ankles are. So my ankles are right here right now. So to get true dorsiflexion in this position, I'd actually have to bend the foot back toward me. So one at a time, you're going to kind of push backward at the toes, at the ball joint of the foot. And you would hold the ankle with your other hand and just keep pushing back. And she's going to run into a lot of tone there. And then grab your bolster and throw it under the foot. Good. And that feels engaged. And then I can creep my heel into that. And I'm nicely getting into some dorsiflexion now.
How do you know that?
I can feel it all the way up into my butt.
So
Yeah.
it's not that it has to be completely perpendicular. It's until they feel.
It's until you feel that back line engaging.
What if they don't?
Then you're not doing it's not there. Yeah. I haven't run into anybody that when you set it up properly, they don't feel something. Yeah. I haven't run into. Went from Paschimottanasana into Jana Shirshasana with the knee bent at the side to Marichiasana. So I can move around now in this spot because I'm safe and I'm kind of good. So if you had a class of 4 or 5 people, you could even put this person back against a wall, right? So that, and actually when I first started, I was always against a wall, hey? I never sat like this on my own. So I had, 25 bolsters behind me. And yeah, and that led to this. Ooh, now I'm pulling out my sitting bones, and there's a little activation in tone. Shh, shh, watch me use sound. I couldn't get into that level of release unless I was using sound. I really couldn't. Especially in a body that's got spasticity or tone or, you know, some sort of neurological thing. It just transcends the barriers and the borders of, you know, of inaccessibility to give you more choice and more places to go. You see that? You see it working? Yeah. So now I would probably put a strap behind that person's feet, get them to, you know, do some of that. I mean, you could go anywhere here. You could go anywhere.
How do you know that you're not overextending them? Like, you know, if it was like in my body, I can feel when my body's saying, "Oh, that's it."
Yeah.
But in someone who's not having that sensation,
That's a great question.
how are they going to give you that, or how do they know?
It's your job to really have eyes that can see that. So how do you see overextension? Anybody? Great. You would see things not supported and not connected. Your base, so in Paschimottanasana, in a forward fold, I'm on my sitting bones, I'm not on the back of my spine. I'm up in a nice position where I can, you know, I can stay upright. So if you can't get them into that position and they're back here, they're gonna probably overextend, because that's just the nature of the beast. So having them forward is going to be your first place of reference over the pelvis. The next point of reference in that piece is to here's a big thing. When I was sort of just out of the starting gates with this, because I was a yogi body and quite flexible, I could actually let my legs lie flat on the mat and flop forward over on them. But I wasn't actually stretching my legs. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't have any atrophy in my legs at all. I can go from here into, a bunch of other postures, down, sitting postures, and James postures. Oh man, I'm getting my workout here.
Those ones have wheat in it, but she usually has buckwheat.
But I use buckwheat hulls, yeah. But we decided we needed dinner tonight, so. So here, I'm going to set up. At least I think I am. This one. Oh, thanks, hon. Just, yeah, perfect. Right there is great. So what I want to do now, I've come out of the twist posture, and I would do both sides. I'd cue them again, like we talked about earlier, that the twist is actually from the navel. So a lot of times you'll see people, doing that, or falling this way, or whatever. So use bolsters to keep them all, in a nice aligned position, and then cue them to lift the heart, pull into the spine, and then what did we talk about earlier? The grounding point. So even if they can't feel their feet, deepen into your points of contact. So down into your feet, down into your seam bones. Now lift the heart and twist. So you're always coming back to the basics, and you're always giving them the education about what those are. From there, I want to get into my hips in a different way, and I would take place.
How long does it usually take to get people on the floor and set up 20
Yeah, it's usually about 20 minutes by the time we get everybody in, if there's a big group. So I'm using that to keep this leg from sickling in or, falling inward. I might grab a little bolster for under this knee. Again, if I see air or space in an area, I want to support that. I don't want that knee hanging out in space. The more support, the better release. So this is Janu Shirshasana. Now you can go back into a kind of a twist here, both ways, and then we can bring them forward and down. If, most of your clients, you're going to need something here. So you would grab something for their waist so that they don't flop over or forward, and that they get engagement. And I didn't show it actually in Paschimottanasana, but I will when we come back that way. So I want to really get them to engage here, not to just flop, because they won't get their core, their muscles, and Uddiyana Mula Bandha. And we would come forward and then do. Feels so good. You want to go there? Yeah. Okay, so that's the practice. You can play with as many postures as you want, and I'll be around to help, and Sophie, and just have fun, kind of explore what you might do in a go from the table, all the stuff we did on the table. And what you'll do is you'll work in dyads, so 2 people, but a new person. And you're going to do, one person's going to be one of those categories, either CP, SCI, stroke, blind, and actually blind, we'll leave out blind, we'll just stick more with the adaptive stuff, not that it's not adaptive, but physically adaptive. So CP, stroke. So let's get into your dyads and I'll assign them. Start to get more extension over with that foot out. I still, if they're in a chair and I'm cueing or teaching like tree or a posture where, I want them to think about standing, I'll get them to cross their legs in the chair, do, that all in the chair. When I do a chair practice and I don't have the table like I showed you earlier in front of me, I kind of just, I guess for me anyway, if I had more hand function, it would be more accessible for me to take the one leg out, pop it on to a higher level after that, and start to do, a little bit more diversity with the lunges and the postures themselves. If they can access their feet and their ankles, then definitely start to, like the other day at the Stroke and Yoga Foundation, I had bolsters similar to that one. And I put that in front of everybody's chair. Now a lot of these people in that capacity, half of them can stand quite well on their own, thank you very much, and they want to, and you let them. But what I often do is I still, like we were talking about earlier, leveling the playing field and making it, accessible to even the lowest common denominator. I'll start off in the chair and I'll work, and I'll say, now those of you that want to stand, go behind your chair and use your chair for support. And then we can do tons of postures there. They can do lunges with the chair, they can do Vrksasana, tree, they can do extended side arm, they can get into lateral, they can do Trikonasana. The sky's the limit. You can play around with the chair that way. Maybe we'll get time to do a bit more of that. But what I also do is I get them to, because especially with stroke or any kind of neurological paralysis, that type of stuff, getting them, first of all, the circulation going in the legs. So I put the bolster down in front of them, like a round one like that, and then I have them put their feet on it, and then they're going to start by rolling. We're going to do ankle, that kind of stuff. You can put a yoga mat on top of the flatter, these kind of bolsters, and get into a really nice toe flexion kind of extension stuff and ankle rotations. If you can imagine that flat and then a yoga mat and then their ankle on top, and you're doing that. And then what I did, which actually was just, it kind of came to me in the class, I had them take the yoga mat off, and then I had them just roll with their feet and toes, so they actually go from like a plantar flexion all the way out to dorsey, having to control the roll of that mat. So and they found that, they were like, oh, you're so tough, oh, that's so hard, oh, we love it, that kind of stuff. So just breaking it up, thinking of using the bolsters and creatively, like to integrate them into the practice will really benefit you in the long run.
I really like what you said earlier about when you see space, you need to fill it.
Yeah.
That as a guideline.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to support. Remember, we're talking about safety comes first, then support, then space. You get a copy too this week because I have one. You have one?
One of the handouts.
It's in there?
has the back.
Okay, good. So I did put it in. Yay!
you did. Oh my
Okay,
God.
so there's a joint freeing series in there, and it's excellent for, we did a lot of it already, but it's just one actual section with it all the kind of stuff laid out. So that's kind of what happens in the morning physio routine for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that right now, and I'm just going to show you a little bit of what is possible to do with your care, or with your mom, or with your sister, or with your boyfriend. And you can, let your clients know that, before they get out of bed, they can actually set the tone for the day. They can do their little yoga practice, right? And make themselves feel probably a lot better. Don't take too many away to see it. So I have a strap over here that's actually a scarf. Now, easy. So that was probably a little too long in that one position. And again, speaking to that, because a lot of your clients don't have all the right, avenues of communication, or they may be distorted, you're going to have to keep your eye out for, never hold them in a posture too long. Make sure there's support, move them if, it looks like something doesn't look right. And the signs you want to look for, any kind of nervous system discharge. So red face, sweating, agitation, distorted breathing, fidgeting. And go do something. Fix it. Because you need to. They may not know, oh, I needed support under there to make that, settle down because I was overextended, right? Yeah. Okay, so the morning physio routine is after the night of sleeping in a nice aligned position. And I guess I'm kind of a bit of a freak because I sleep really aligned. But I figure that I'm laying most of my pathways at night anyway. And if my pathways and channels are actually aligned and, connected and communicating with each other, I'm going to have, first of all, I have a much better sleep because there's not something in a weird position that's pulling, maybe creating a spasm, and yada, yada, yada. And I like to think of it, a lot of us with, these neurological impairments, may need to take medications to work with that, and that's fine. There's no, right or wrong in this scenario. But I like to think of it as you want to learn how to regulate before you medicate. So if you can create regulation through all of these different, channels, then the need for medication becomes much less, right? And then you're really medicating only to regulate, not to medicate. And a lot of the the advancements that you can make are going to happen through you learning how to, or teaching your clients how to self-regulate. And then they'll learn to do whatever they need to with weaning themselves off if they have to, or altering whatever they need to do in that scenario if it's an issue for them. Okay, thanks. So I'm going to jump forward, so don't take it away yet. So Fiona's going to come in front of me, and again, you need to trust your client. They know best. So I said that because it's important. I need that support there, or I'm going to probably fall over. So she's going to stand in front of me.
Can I grab that Miss Piggy?
You can, yeah. We're going to use it right away. Right, it's going to actually be right there on top of the block, so it's in a good spot. So I would, if I'm on a bed and I need someone to help me, or on a yoga mat, I'm going to have her just keep my legs together. So use your legs to keep my legs in, and then sit up, get yourself in a good position so you're a little bit more supported. Tuck your tail down, and you're going to pull me down towards the end of the mat. So you might need to back up a bit, and I might need to get my head here and then pull. Okay, so you're kind of doing yoga all the time with your clients and teaching them how to do it themselves. Move my legs up more, and we'll do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, and I'm pushing up. So and again, that's teaching me to use my arms and stuff. Do we have enough room?
No.
Okay. Okay. Keep the brown one there. Yeah. It's almost spot. Yeah. So I'll just take my foot right out. More that way. Okay, one more. Okay. Okay, I got him. And then grab the strap and we'll put it around my feet. So as I was saying, when I sleep at night, because I have really spazzy legs, I need to be able to control them myself, or I would be a basket case and I'd never get any sleep. So I did use a yoga strap at one time. Go ahead. But now I use a nice pretty scarf because it looks nice, like my bedclothes. So, you know, there's that kind of creative stuff that you want to think about. Let's see. And let's go back. So sometimes we need our caregivers to adjust us and move us around. So I like to really give them the ability to do it in a way that helps protect their body. But also I'm looking for alignment. So I don't know if you can see it. Ouch, but I'm kind of, I'm twisted. My pelvis is twisted. So Cherry, that's straighten out the pelvis. So, and this will happen a lot, especially with CP. Does she have rods?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to be careful with this, but ideally you can get the pelvis in line with the spine just by gently up and over.
Towards the right or left?
This way.
Okay, ready?
Good. And that also brought my pelvis into a neutral spine. So it might just be a gentle little lift up there of the sacrum to get that. And then, so I've slept at night, and we'll just quickly kind of bring, basically at night what I do, I don't need to set it all up, is I have something under my legs, and they're in this position. But my feet are actually up in dorsiflexion. So rather than having them flop forward, I have them actually, you could just show what Miss Piggy looks like, Cherry. At night, I have a heavy bolster at the end of my bed, and then I have a foot plate, like a gas pedal or a brake pedal, if you will. And that's going to be holding my feet. And there's a block, and that actually creates, again, that nice neutral spine pelvis. And for many people with paralysis, their feet and their lower legs become like lost, forgotten entities. But I really love my feet, and I like them being healthy, and I like them being able to move and feel. So that's kind of how I set it up at night. And of course I would have a bolster or two on the side so they didn't flop side to side and that kind of stuff. And then I can pull in and roll side to side when I need to. I can do all that kind of stuff because I've now got my legs, right? Okay, so then Cherry would come in the morning, and she would then see that set up and then say, great, let's do some spinning, MJ. Or Fiona, who's the champ now, busting.
That makes you independent at night, which is really rare, I think.
Really rare, yeah. Now I told you earlier, I was saying to Jen yesterday, and actually to Nandi just a minute ago, Mary, just move this way for a bit so everybody can see. When I took myself out of the wheelchair to kind of put my body and my being into what would, rehabbing a quadriplegic body actually be like, Mary Jo? You talk the talk, but you need to walk the walk. And I had mentioned to Nandi that at that time I had met Thomas Myers, who all these beautiful diagrams of the body up here. He did a workshop with a bunch of people on anatomy trains, and I have a therapist who's amazing, Mark Finch, and he does myofascial release, and I've been working with him. Anyway, he said, come with me, this will be good for you. So we went, and Thomas was all about, your body's actually, it doesn't have a spine yet, you're still infant. So start off with really small micro things and think about this anatomy train stuff. So this is what I did to get triceps back. And all of these moves, I can feel all through my lateral body. Now, I could never do that with my arms, like, that at that time. So I don't, and I got tested last year. I'm still an Asia A complete. They still pinprick the same test and get the same results. But, you know, just like your uncle, we don't need to listen to a diagnosis. We need to listen to our bodies and to our own desire to heal. That's it. So just to say. Okay, so Cherry would come in, and off she would go, grabbing my legs. Hi, Chair.
Hey,
Or hi, Fee.
I always ask you if you want smoothie first.
Oh, I would love one. And then Jolie brings a bolster.
Yeah. But she's not here, so I'm gonna
So
grab your legs.
yeah, she'll grab my legs and just slowly take them up into her body, a nice, good, solid, protected spine position. And then at the first, degree of movement, you just start with little circles.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm stronger this side.
And if you can't see, you can always move around, you guys. So it would just be little circles. And again, thinking, now I'll just say one thing. The reason why we have this position is for most of your clients, neutral spine is going to be here in this chair type position for a couple different reasons. Partially because of the tightness in their hamstrings. And also, a few reasons. But my spasticity would kick in if my legs went out to 65 degrees. 90 degrees is really safe. Getting past 90 starts to pull on those lordotic muscles and the hamstring line, and boom, they're going to shoot. And it's not comfortable, it's painful. So we start off in 90 and then we start to expand and extend the circle out. So we would do this for a few minutes, start small. You can go big and big and big. And then she would get really into it. Now look at her body. She's actually doing her yoga in the morning. And every caregiver I've had in the last 10 years loves this once I teach it to them. Because they get their morning routine too. And then they see how good it is for my body. Because I don't have to take, it helps so much. Gets through those layers of, inertia in the muscles and the stagnantness.
Now, what about if the legs are just so
For
contracted though?
yeah, so for your CP clients that have that really stiff, kind of almost Tuger style to their, you'd never be able to do that initially, but you could start slowly. Yeah. Now, can she bend her legs at all? Okay, so what we would want to look at there is starting down at the ankles with her legs all the way out. So think of the joint that's most accessible to you that can move and work your way back up. Yeah.
I miss doing this.
And I can get into all sorts of great stuff here, but we won't go too far. So then we would do single legs. So I would take one leg, I'd put a roll under my knee. Whenever you're doing, a lot of, if the knee's flexed, you want to protect that knee joint, especially in your clients that can't feel. So that's going under there. And your hips are the tightest area on a wheelchair person. Hips in the lower back. So Cherry makes a little tower, a little base of support for herself. And then you might want to take a picture because the placement of the hand is going to be key for the hip rotation. So, here, do you want to flip this over to the other side?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what I do in this position is I flatten my hands under here. So I use this as physio for my hands. So I can actually stretch my fingers right out on this roll, and the pressure down on the hand ignites that deep back line, and my triceps are firing right now. So, and I do this with this arm. So I do my rotations out here, and she's going to work on the hip. Now notice that the foot is in flexion, that she's cradling the arm, so to speak, and just stirring the pot. Now you want to be careful because you don't, in your clients that don't have sensation, you don't know how far to go there. So rule of thumb is once you reach a point of tension or tensegrity, you're just going to stay there. You're not going to push past that point. if the client has good awareness and you start to, have the capacity to, to work more and more with this, you might say, okay, start to push toward my hand. And I'll use the joint sound, which is ZJ. ZJ. So you guys can practice this too. We're going to do all this stuff once you get on your mat. So there's that, and then there's extension. Oh, sorry, we do dorsiflexion and ankle rotation here. So this is something that you could do. So you'd put her legs on a little bolster, hanging over the edge, and same thing. And then just try and do plantar to dorsiflexion for a while. A lot of massage in the lower Achilles would help. Yeah. A lot of patients like that, or sorry, clients, I find hot towels. I used hot towels for a long time when I couldn't bend my legs. And hot towels with a bit of castor oil would be really good for someone like Sarah. Castor oil on the skin, quite thick, and then just wrap a hot towel, not too hot obviously, but nicely warm around it, and that'll help too. So again, another tool in your toolkit. Massage, and then we go straight up into extensions. Now, if I was really mean, I would make Jerry do dorsiflexion here too, but it's hard.
You can try that.
So, and the way to do that is get behind the leg and support it. And I'm flexible. You wouldn't want to do this with Chris yet, obviously. But if I wasn't so flexible, go that way. Take your body that way toward the... So we could still get a really nice stretch in here and not be jeopardizing the back of the knee joint.
Can you feel that?
Yeah, yeah. So will you when we get way down. So there's a spasm. So it's just like a wave. And you just have to kind of sit and wait. Okay, so there's that. And then I guess the last thing I'll show you is kind of how to move a person around on a mat. So say you've got a paralyzed body, and I know there's probably lots of great physio ways to do this. The way I do it, because I'm not a physio, and I need to move people around a lot, including myself, is, here, Jerry.
Are you going to use this?
Oh, we will in a second. Yeah, so we'll put the roll right under. And actually, we could use that and show them with that. But let's do this one first, the cannonball one.
Oh, okay.
Just because if they have a, bunch of clients or whatever. So if your client can get into a nice little upside down child's pose tuck like this, which is also a good yoga pose here. Just FYI, this is it feels awesome. Just really gives my spine. Oh, and also this twist is really good here. We do this twist a lot. So on this twist, you want to make sure that your joints are stacked. So I don't do this twist with my knee back here and my pelvis, unsquare. I want to make sure I'm square here, sure my pelvis is stacked, and then I'm going to go into a really great, feels so good. Now, Cherry, being my friend, would come here and just give a little gentle pressure down the femur line toward the knee on the top, and I'm going to, this would be great and you can do these without the legs totally bent. So I would have them out further, the legs down further, and I would support now. If that client couldn't get there, I would have a bolster up to here and have them doing this twist with their legs a bit less bent if they weren't as flexible. You know what I mean? Okay. So this little cannonball move, I'm going to just tuck and hold my arms in, and this also was great for tricep to develop them, because I got to contain my little core now. And then Cherry's going to grab me here, and we're going to just be pivoting me into a 45 degrees. Right. So I'm going to come up on the inhale, and then pivot. And then we've reorientated our client on the mat. And getting in and out of bed, this is so easy. Like your clients sit this way in a bed, you want to move them, you can spin them so easy this way. Okay, and then we would put the sling under. And I can wiggle side to side. She can get the sling in. And this is what you would do too with your clients that were, you know, on the floor in their yoga practice. And then Cherry and I will show you again what Fiona and I showed you earlier, and that's sitting someone up that's paralyzed. So you want to hold the feet, take them out to a level where you can't have the knees too close if you're going to sit them up, nor do you want them too far because they're going to end up spasming. So there's a happy medium, and it's usually about an isosceles triangle, like a, 65-45, whatever. You know what I mean, right? So then she's going to stand over top with her legs on my legs, because my legs would flop side to side. And then here's a really key thing, you guys. Don't grab like this. You know, that her body's not core sound, my body's not core sound. I can't engage my deep back line there. But if we think of alignment principles, I can now suck my elbows in, so can she. My thumbs are up, so are hers, and 1, 2, 3. And I pull up, and she just lets me kind of, she just uses that as an initiation. And then we slide the feet out, and then that client's back up again. Now again, she's asking, are you okay? Do you need support there? You know, what do you need? And then we would do the lift with the sling. So we had this handy little sling. So now my two volunteers, Fiona and Cherry, are going to come, and you're going to lift me back into my chair. And this sling will make it super easy.
No, it's okay right there.
Yeah, and always make sure the brakes are on the chair that you're going to. Any, you know, pads, things that are in the way, get them out of the way. Make sure your path is clear. The microphones are all tucked in. All right. So from this position, they're going to basically do the same lift, so it's still a quad lift, but now they've got a sling behind. So their front hand still goes under the knees from the inside to the outside. That's really key.
So you back up, Fiona.
Their back hand is going to wrap twice around the strap, often. That's
Ready?
kind of important. And then we're going to 1, 2, 3, lift, and plunk. And then go to the feet first. Make sure the feet, again, the grounding point, are safe in there. And then up the body, flips, whatever you might need. Okay?
So you always require 2 people for a transfer.
That one you can do with one.
You can.
If you have a strong person, and if the person that you're working with has some core strength.
Did you design that sling? I've never seen something like that.
That's because we make them. We design them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And sell them.
And sell them. Everything's for sale. Not me, but everything. Oh, I forgot to show you the toe spreader. So often when I'm in my practice, thanks, I might put my toe spreaders in. Have you guys seen these? Fantastic. Like that will help the circulation. It'll help the dorsiflexion. I mean, anybody know reflexology? All of our nerve endings are in the bottom of our feet anyway. So you really want to keep those feet happy. Happy feet are healthy legs and all the way up the line. So there's a couple sets of those back there for sale, but Joya Irwin designed and makes these, and I've tried the other little, you know, pedicure ones. They just don't do the same thing. So take these out. I mean, they're not that dirty. You can take a new set out and take a look at them. And
You said they last forever.
I've had these for probably 8 years. And I put them on in the shower. That's where I really recommend you giving them to your clients, sort of before they're, especially CP people, because this will help her legs. Opening up those channels would be amazing. And they wouldn't open up on their own. You need something like that.
Where's one that's like in between the big and the little toe?
Yeah, we'll check these out.
Yeah.
They're fab.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
The spa where I worked at first, they're the sandals like that, and so you could wear it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You could
go in the shower with them. They're,
Yeah.
you know, like flip-flops, but they have one
Yeah,
in between.
nice.
Yeah.
I actually had a pair like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you put these on in the shower, but then aren't they all wet? And
Yep, but they dry, and it's a really good way just because you're already, you know, your body's going to be more relaxed. So it's a great way, especially if you've got someone tight like your CP clients, to really get the legs to, you know, to wake up a bit and to start to, you know, get more circulation. Matt. And Annie, you're welcome to do it if you want to stay where you are or add in, but you need a yoga.
it's supposed to be around? Yeah.
Do you want a mat? Is there not other ones?
It might be
And if there's other people in the room that were in the course, you could be going around doing adjustments like Shelby's doing, like get involved, don't be afraid to, you know, go and take a look down underneath, checking alignment, checking if people need more support. Someone like Shira might want a yoga mat on their lap.
Oh, that's a good mat. This one actually.
Put a bolster in between behind your back here. Yeah. For a little more relaxed. Yeah. A little bit more straight. How does that feel? Good? Yeah? Yeah.
You have nice big hands like me.
Yeah, I'm a
I noticed your hands the other day.
I'm a downward-facing dog. That's what I am. And then we have to spring me. The girl is like, wow, you've got big
I never realized, just recently realized, I actually have really big hands for a woman. Whenever I see another woman like good girl, solid hands, I'm like,
Straight. Yeah, feel straight.
someone told me that, like, you have really big hands.
Back of your left needs to come back just a tad if you can do that. There, perfect. Yeah.
I know this every time I go and buy myself a little dinky ring. I'm like, so I hit it.
A little bit on the chair. So I'm going to put in the chair a little bit. That's so much better.
It's been Japanese.
Yes, or I
It's
can
like
do
Mickey
this.
Mouse.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that way you see
I feel a little
solid
lopsided.
and
Sorry.
like
I'm just gonna
It's like little balls, yeah. It's funny.
put something.
You have to coordinate.
I think it's like rolling in and who's rolling out. Yeah, that feels better.
That's why I try to, if there's, if it's one table, I try not to put two people close to one another so that they're going into each other. So I kind of stagger it a bit.
Is there another yoga mat?
Here you go, sweetie. Here you go.
Try that.
You would slap your legs together so that you would get more
Do you have a headache?
engagement there.
Just
My system's overwhelmed.
You're not leaning too much.
I'm super sensitive to light and sound suddenly now. Should I grab my sunglasses actually?
I think it's really important that people have something on their lap, so you want to have your legs closer together. Yeah. So we need to put a bolster on.
Yeah.
I don't want you to lean too forward. I want you to lean more with your stomach in flat so that you're not pulling the pelvis. So that's about as far as you can. This is one forward. Yeah. But if you were up closer, then you have that.
Yeah, it will. Because you want to have, like, be able to feel something on your belly. Okay.
Or did you get a ball?
she did, yeah.
That worked. Yeah. There.
Oh yeah, I am.
There.
This is like making pie crust all together. In slow motion, mindful pie crust.
It's very even.
We didn't do this one. Like when we practiced, this is good.
Yeah, on the forearms, right?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to class, everyone. So my name's Lynn. I'll be guiding you through part of it.
And my name is Shelby, and I'll help a little bit too.
And whoever else may want to do it. Okay, so let's just start with your hands. If you can bring your hands just back down onto your lap. And if you're comfortable, you can just let your eyes close. If not, you can keep them open. Just start to notice your breath. So just breathing in through the nose as you inhale. And then exhale. Just starting to just notice how that feels in your body. And at first, you don't need to change the pace of your breath. Just become aware of it as you breathe in and out through the nose. And then let's come together as a group with your breath. So as you take an inhale together, you're going to make an ah sound as you exhale. And do that 3 more times together. Take an inhale and exhale. And inhale, feeling that lightness, expansion, and exhale, letting it go. And final breath. Inhale. And just come back into your own rhythm. Just beginning to notice your thoughts and just letting go as you exhale. Just becoming a little bit more present in your body, so feeling how your body feels as you inhale, feeling maybe a bit of expansion, maybe a bit of lightness. And seeing what you can let go as you exhale. If there's any place that's feeling a little more tight, restricted today, just start to send your breath into that area. Good, and then start to really direct your inhale a little bit deeper, so in towards your belly. Feeling that expansion as you inhale, maybe your rib cage expands. And slight letting go as you exhale.